Shut up and sit down.
Welcome into Sports Weekly. I'm Sevrin Lavenstein.
And I'm John Kearney. We have so much for you from basketball to wrestling.
It all begins right now. The Ithaca College women's basketball team took on rival SUNY Cortland for the first home game of the season after losing the opener to the College of New Jersey. It was a close battle on a night that was also designated as Fill the Hill. Let's show you what happened. All right, the hardwood edition of Cortica at Ben Light Gymnasium, 2-0, 8 to go in the first quarter. Shannon McGuire with a miss. It's going to be Cassidy O'Malley with the rebound, and she averaged 6 rebounds last year. Later in the first, 8-4 IC. It's O'Malley to Volpe, and then to Cannon with a nice sidestep for 2. Cannon was 1 board away from a double-double in Game 1. The Dragons fight back. Close battle before the half. 6 minutes to go. Cannon will miss from the top of the key, but then Emily Dorn finds her on the rebound. Cannon with the cut. IC takes the lead, but they will trail going into the half. 26-24 Cortland gridlock after the first few minutes after the break. O'Malley to Cannon. The long 2 is going to come here as she steps inside the arc. 1 bounce and then a bounce in, and that is going to be 2 leaders in minutes in scoring from a season ago coming and finding themselves together. So the ball finds its way from Yalman to Volpe here in transition. Good control. 2 minutes later, the Bombers up 3, then make it 6. Megan Yalman, she sinks the 3, nothing but net. And that was her only points of the game, but she had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals as well. Fourth quarter now, score tied at 50. Sarah Tully, coast to coast in transition. She puts Cortland up 2. She finished with a double-double, 12 points, 14 rebounds. IC answers on the other end, so still tied. And then Nia Longford, the center, from 3. You don't see that one too often. The bench loves it. 1-point game, under 3 to go on the other end. What do? Find your star. Cassidy O'Malley, IC now up 3, and they would pull away from there and go on to win by a final score of 70-59.
We now head over to Cornell men's basketball over on the other hill here in Ithaca. Starting off, Cornell up 17-10 halfway through the first. Brian Knapp drives baseline and kicks it to Jordan Jones in the right corner for a 3. That would be his first basket of the game, increasing the Big Red lead to 10. Not much more scoring here in the first half, so we jump to 16 minutes left in the second. Zach Cooks using the screen from the big man Brinson. A driving kick to Shaquan Gibbs for a triple, cutting the Big Red lead to 13. Gibbs and NJIT hoping that would be a rhythm bucket that could start a run. Later in the second, after a Big Red miss, the Highlanders look to push the fast break with Cooks racing up the court and cradles and finishes at the rim with a tough left-handed layup, cutting the Big Red lead to only 7. Cornell now back with the lead up to 10, is looking to remain in control, but Zach Cooks would not go quietly, stealing the pass in the backcourt for another layup. Cornell was unable to contain Cooks all game. 1 minute left now, NJIT only down 2. They secure a big rebound and push their advantage again with the ball finding its way to Zach Cooks for a triple, their first lead of the game. What a performance for the junior and Cooks. Cornell's now down 1 with 13 seconds left. They have to get the ball into the hands of their senior, Josh Warren, and he's able to get the tough bucket with 5.8 seconds left on the clock. What an unbelievable last minute of this one. The Highlanders would take a timeout, and with one more chance to draw up an out-of-bounds play, down 1 with 3.2 seconds left, they get the ball to Shaquan Gibbs, who finishes the tough layup through contact with 0.5 seconds on the clock. Cornell would end up trying to get the ball to Jimmy Boeheim, but time runs out before they can get a shot off. What an unbelievable comeback by the NJIT Highlanders, scratching and clawing back from a 20-point deficit to a 1-point victory.
Well, it's been tough sledding for Syracuse basketball recently after losing 2 in a row to Oklahoma State and to Penn State. Coach Boeheim and company were trying to right the ship with a win against Iowa. We've got the highlights for you right here. So we'll take you to the first early now. Merritt Dolajai is going to be the one who comes up with this after the scrum. Hughes will go up 4. It's the junior from Bratislava in transition. First back-to-back double-digit scoring game for him this season. His first points there. Iowa up 1, still early. Elijah Hughes, deep 3. Hughes retakes the lead. A season-high 25 points for him. Remember last year in the tourney versus Baylor. 14-12 Orange. Hughes with the rebound, but it's going to go to Quincy Guerrier in transition here, the freshman from Quebec. Hughes looking good as you see the slam there. Iowa hanging around in the first. 1 point Orange lead, 3 to go in the half. Jordan Bohannon is going to sink the deep three. 10th player in all of Division I basketball since '92 to post at least 79 threes and 118 assists per season. Iowa fans breathing easy. Out of the half, Iowa still in front. It's Hughes with the shot, but then to Girard, the putback from Dolezaj. Tie game now. Fun fact, Dolezaj and Bohannon, they weigh the same despite a 9-inch height difference. Bet you didn't know that one. Big jump ahead. Iowa went on a big run, so it's 56-38. Hughes hits the contested three. He's trying to get his team on his back here, finish with 10 points. Iowa gets a bucket on the other end. So next possession, it's Hughes to Girard with the and one. Good finish from the fan favorite from Glen Falls. Under 5 to go, 16-point lead. Remember Jordan Bohannon? Well, the Q's defense doesn't because they left him open right there. Bohannon, school record holder for threes, can pass the 300 mark. And then the nail in the coffin from Luke Garza, and that's going to do it. Syracuse falls to 500. They've lost 3 in a row. Next ACC game is going to be against Georgia Tech. Well, the Ithaca College men's basketball team has slowly been adjusting to the style of Liberty League play in the past couple seasons. This year, the Bombers are expected to take a big jump with even an odd schedule to start. Paul Brecht has more.
Expectations of the Ithaca College men's basketball team this season are high. In just the school's third season in the Liberty League, the Bombers were selected as the preseason favorites to win the conference. While it was an honor to be selected, head coach Jim Mullins made sure to indicate that the team understands there's a reason they play the season.
You know, I think preseason polls really mean nothing. I'm a huge believer that what you did last year has no impact at all on this year.
The opening part of Ithaca's schedule will not be kind, as the Bombers will play their first 9 games away from their home, Ben Light Gymnasium. They'll rely heavily on senior guards Riley Thompson and Sebastian Alderete, good friends and the Bombers' top 2 scorers from last season.
Well, the biggest thing I expect out of both of them is their leadership capabilities. You know, we're well aware of what they can do physically on the court.
And even though Ben Light Gymnasium won't get any use from the men's team until January 10th when they host Skidmore, the Bombers don't lack confidence.
So this is no surprise to us. We have, some good leadership of upperclassmen with experience.
The depth of the team and the culture that has been built here on the South Hill will ultimately be the key to surviving the first third of the season. Luckily for the Bombers, they see that as the team's strength.
When Coach Brennan was a senior, we were 24-1. And that being said, top to bottom, this group is more talented.
Really deep team, great camaraderie. We're all best friends off the floor.
With expectations elevated for the IC men, the confidence is there to match. The only question left, can the Bombers really bring it on the road with them? In Ithaca, Paul Brecht, Sports Weekly.
Cornell hockey has been a perennial powerhouse in the Ivy League. Alex LeMay took a look under the hood of this powerhouse recently.
And after a rough start to the season, the Big Red look to bounce back this weekend with the start of conference play. Don't touch that remote. You won't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Sports Weekly. I'm John Kluger. Cornell looking to continue their hot start as they face Princeton Tigers, an Ivy League matchup. Cornell looking, we start off early second period. Kyle Betts, quick pass to Jeff Mudd, and he rips it past the goalie. Cornell leads 1-0 in the second period. Great setup by Betts to get Cornell rolling. Later on in the second, Princeton moving down the rink. 2-on-1 situation, Corey Andonovsky winds up and takes a shot. Kick and saved by the junior Galaja. Cornell, this possession taken by the Tigers. Quick shot, past the center, one shot, rebound. Good job by junior Macalaja. Later on in the second, Tigers territory. Cornell wins the faceoff. Matt Mullins, quick shot and score. What a shot by the junior to extend the lead 2-0. Cornell again on the power play. Quick pass by Caldas. Backdoor shot. Ben Bards extends Cornell's lead in the second. Tigers struggling to get something going on. Stolen by Donaldson, 2-on-1. Backhand shot. Score by the junior. Cam Donaldson to bring Cornell to a 4-0 lead. Princeton trying to crawl back from 4 down. Jake Pagnelli with the puck. Quick shot and score. A little something to get the Tigers going here early on in the third period. Cornell on a roll. Donaldson with it. Quick pass to Alex Green, who is there for the Cornell's 5th and final goal. Cornell with a commanding victory over the Princeton Tigers.
Well, the Cornell women's ice hockey team has a lot to live up to a season removed from making the Frozen Four. They got the 2019 campaign underway with 2 games against Robert Morris. They won the first 6-0, but here's how the second one played out. Number 5, Cornell. Number 8, Robert Morris. Under 9 to go in the second. Shot score by Micah Zandy Hart. Zandy Hart missed only 4 games last year to be on the Canadian national team. No more for her blocking. 55 shot blocks last year as a defenseman. 1-0 Cornell. Second period winding down. Puck's going to go out to center on the Colonials power play. Shot by Sarah LeCavalier is going to be blockered aside by Lindsey Browning, the successor to Marlene Bosno. She's already got 6 shutouts. 1-0 Cornell, 6.5 to go in the third. Cornell on the final minute of their power play. It's going to be Gillis Frechette from the assist by Grace Graham and Devin Facinato. Gillis Frechette, remember for that shot that sent the Big Red to their first Frozen Four since 2012, the overtime winner. So now we're in the final 90 seconds, an empty net, and it's Gillis Frechette again from the assist, also with Graham. The third goal of the weekend for Frechette, big point scorer last year, an assist on 10 of the last 11 games. So your final score is going to advance to about 3-0 as we're in the final seconds. Cornell will sweep Robert Morris in 2 games, and that does it there. 35 total stops for Browning in the 2-game contest with Robert Morris, both shutouts. The first points of the season for Graham and Facinato with their assists. Cornell killed all 5 power play opportunities that Robert Morris had in the game. Again, 3-0 is your final score.
Now it is time to take a look into one of the top college hockey programs in the country. Alex LeMay keeps us up to date with the Cornell's men's hockey team and what's going on with the Big Red.
It was not an ideal start to the season for 6th-ranked Cornell, as the Big Red hosted Michigan State for a 2-game series and lost both games to the Spartans. Now the team looks to put those losses behind them and move forward.
The main thing is just getting back to work. That's all you can do. I mean, you have a short memory when you face some adversity like that, especially first couple of games of the year. But I mean, it's important to notice what you did right in the games and what you did wrong and what happened, and move on from it and learn from it, use it as a learning experience. But there's no pointing fingers or anything, and it's always the next day. You know, the next day you got to get better, and you can't change the past. So that's where our mentality is right now.
After a rough start to the season, the Big Red look to bounce back this weekend as they start conference play. Cornell prepares to face off with Ivy League foes Yale and Brown this weekend.
They're great in transition, and they push the envelope as far as getting up and down the ice. But they're also a very good defensive team. I think that's one thing about has always been misunderstood about his hockey teams is they're great on special teams, and they play a really good defensive style. So you got to be patient against them. Down there we were down. We had I don't know how many shots, but we faced adversity in both of our games against them last year and persevered. And we'll need to do probably, I'm sure, the same.
From Liner Inc. in Ithaca, Alex LeMay, Sports Weekly.
Team's really looking good there, right?
Yeah, Cornell hockey always one of the best teams that you can look for on either end of the hill. Always a great product. They've got a bunch of juniors, but also they've got Morgan Barron, the draftee from the New York Rangers, who's doing really well on offense.
Matt Elijah, the goalie, really having a great season, up for a couple of awards. Hope to see that he continues this streak. Really see that he keeps up the performance for this season.
Absolutely.
Cornell University's wrestling program has been a strong competitor in Division I, currently under head coach Rob Cole. The Big Red have won a consecutive 88 Ivy League dual matches and have won 20 Ivy League titles. Since Cole has taken over, 9 wrestlers have claimed at least 1 national title.
What is it like being a back-to-back Division I national champion? One Cornell wrestler knows all about the pressures facing him now. We'll learn more about Yanni Diakomahalis right after the break.
Welcome back to Sports Weekly. 4 Cornell wrestlers have repeated as national champions at least twice. Only 1 Cornell wrestler has won 4 national championships, but current wrestler Yanni Diakomahalis is looking to do the same and even more. Charlie Brooks has more.
Cornell wrestler Yanni Diakomahalis has won back-to-back Division I national championships. But he doesn't credit all of that success just to himself.
So my dad has done a lot for me. He's been my coach my whole life, and then Mike Gray is probably the guy on staff who I work most closely with. We've kind of became friends, but he's also, he's my coach, and he pushes me and he's challenging me. And like you'll see when I get out there and wrestle, he's going to push me through the workout. He's going to push me in the conditioning. He's going to have me do an extra. And stuff like that is what gets me to this point. And you build that relationship where you trust what he's saying is what's good for you and it's what works. So that's really important. I won the NCAAs, but I wasn't super happy with how I wrestled and that kind of lack of satisfaction.
While Yanni may already be a back-to-back Division I national champion, he has much bigger plans in the future, including this upcoming year in the Summer Olympics.
So this year I'm on an Olympic red shirt, so I won't be wrestling for the team. I won't be in school for this year. I'm just focusing on freestyle wrestling, which is what they do internationally, and I'm trying to make the Olympic team, and then hopefully get a gold medal at the Olympic Games. And in the process, I'm going to compete overseas. We're looking at Rome, Russia, Poland, maybe Cuba, and then a handful of American tournaments that are going to qualify me for the Olympic spot. So a couple stuff, busy couple weeks coming up, and hopefully good end result.
At Cornell University, Charlie Brooks, Sports Weekly.
Taking his Olympic red shirt are three other Cornell starters, Matteo Arrojo, Andrew Berriasa, and Max Dean, according to head coach Rob Cole.
Winter may be here, but baseball is right around the corner. Coming up after the break, I get a look into the 2020 Ithaca baseball season and what to expect with a new head coach at the helm. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Sports Weekly.
Last year, the Ithaca College baseball team ended their season with a 31-9 record and placing 21st in the nation for Division III, but they will continue their success under the new leadership. Here's Brian Barnes with more.
Last season continued the long success of IC baseball, ending with their 18th Empire 8 title, which the players say is thanks to their senior leadership.
Last year it was our senior leadership, for sure. I think we graduated 12 seniors, so not only the leadership on the pitching side of it, but all three of our starting outfielders were seniors, and just the leadership and the desire to win and succeed that they showed made the rest of the team hungry.
And with that mentality has brought 41 straight seasons of success for the Ithaca Bombers. IC baseball has high expectations every single season, but this season they may be at their highest with new head coach David Valicente taking over the Story baseball program. And if that last name sounds familiar, it's because he is the son of former Hall of Fame head coach George Valicente. And for him, the expectations mean many different things.
I wouldn't necessarily call them nerves, more excitement, a sense of humbleness to be able to continue the tradition here, carry on the legacy of Ithaca College baseball. I'd say it's going to be a mixture of excitement and emotion. I can tell you that when I came up here and played against my dad when I was at Wells, it was very emotional, going to him, shaking hands at home plate. I know he got emotional, I got emotional. It was pretty special.
It also brings big change for the Ithaca Bombers baseball team, as for the first time since 1971, they will no longer be a part of the Empire 8 Conference. From Ithaca College, I'm Brian Barnes, Sports Weekly.
The Ithaca College football team played in the ECAC ASA-S Bushnell Bowl on Saturday, November 23rd against Washington and Jefferson. After being ahead 10-0 at the half, it was looking good, but the game completely turned around in the fourth quarter when Washington and Jefferson came out with a victory by a score of 20-17. So you look at the boards there, you see all the stats, and really it was a tough game for Joe Germinario, not what we saw from the week before against Corsica, and really some were questioning whether or not Ithaca was going to take this game after winning at MetLife Stadium, but nevertheless, 8-3 for Washington Jefferson, and 8-3 also for Ithaca, another season with 3 losses, 4-2 in conference. Of course, those losses to Union and to RPI really hurt the team. When we come back, we'll have some Stars of the Week after the break, so stick with us.
College athletes in the greater Ithaca area really showed off this week. These are the Stars of the Week. The first Star of the Week is Parley Hannon, an IC senior cross-country runner. She recently became the first IC cross-country athlete to win a national championship and is now one of the 11 finalists for the D3 Honda Athlete of the Year award for cross-country. We're pulling for you, Parley.
Our second star of the week is Alex Epifani of the IC women's soccer team. Junior was honored this past week with the United Soccer Coaches third-team All-America selection for the second year in a row. Epifani started in 15 games this season for the Bombers and led the team with 5 goals and 16 total points.
The third and final star of the week is Cornell football senior safety Jelani Taylor. Taylor was named one of the 13 finalists for the 2019 Stats FCS Doris Robinson Scholar Athlete Award. The award is given to an athlete that excels in the classroom and community, as well as on the football field. Taylor fits the bill for the award, having maintained a 3.94 GPA as a hotel administration major, as well as tutoring fellow Cornell students and being top 5 in passes defended in Cornell football history.
John, so many great athletes on the South Hill and in Cornell as well. Who's like some of your favorite to watch?
Definitely Will Gladney of the IC football team. Really just puts up numbers, stuffs the stat sheet every week. How about you? What about your Anya?
Yeah, there's some great athletes on the Ithaca College football team. I got to go with women's soccer. I think there are so many great. You've got Alex Epifani, as we mentioned. You've got the goalkeeper Sarah Jacobsi. She's been absolutely fantastic. There's so many great athletes, I think, all over the place that really just shine when they need to. And Alex Epifani led the team in scoring and led them to a successful season.
Yeah, it was a great season for the team, and hopefully they'll look to build on that next year.
Absolutely. And with Cornell as well, I think the hockey team's obviously the first ones that jump out, but you talk about wrestling, they're one of the most successful teams in the country, and sometimes they don't get a whole lot of recognition.
Yeah, they're one of those smaller sports, especially in the winter when basketball is going on. Whether they're a good team or not, or successful, is always going to have one of those the focus on it. So.
Absolutely. So wrestling, hockey, soccer, we've got all of the sports covered. But that's going to do it for us this week in this episode of Sports Weekly. Be sure to tune in next week. For John Kearney, I'm Sevrin Lavenstein. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a great week.